Alright, everyone, welcome to my review of Rebels Inc. Escalation. So, by no means is this a new game, I know, but you might be wondering, why am I reviewing this if it's a 5-year-old game at this point? That's because I bought it and played it recently, so to me, it's almost like a new game. Because yeah, there's gonna be a new Ink game coming out, and I'm a huge fan of Plague Inc. I got over 100 hours in it, so I thought, before this new Ink game comes out, uh, let's check out the one that's already here that I haven't played, Rebels Inc. So yeah, it's gonna become a trend on the channel. This is a big announcement. I'm gonna be making reviews of old games if I am new to them. All right. So this doesn't mean that I'll be making reviews of games that I've been praising for years. No, this means that I'll make reviews of maybe older games that I personally am new to. Okay. Disclaimer out of the way. Let's talk about the actual game. So, Rebels Inc. is about Rebels Inc. is about stopping an insurgency. You're like the leader of a country, and you have to, maybe not a country, like a small region actually. Whatever, you got a map, and you can see it in the background, and there's gonna be rebels popping up who'll try to destabilize your region. They're very nasty, and you gotta get them out of there and stabilize the region so that everyone's happy and everyone lives happily ever after. Yeah. And obviously, it's pretty similar to Plague Inc. Like you have the whole map divided into sections. You have upgrade trees that look eerily similar to Plague Inc. So it does work on a similar premise, but it's very different in many ways. And I'll explain why that is. So the main difference between Plague Inc. and Rebels Inc., I think, is just how many things go into a playthrough of Rebels Inc. In Plague Inc., uh, as soon as you realize that you need to max out your infectivity before you go for lethality, the game becomes very easy. And with Rebels, I haven't really discovered a strategy like that. I've played the game for like 15 hours now, and I've tried out a lot of the different upgrades and options and stuff. And so admittedly, I haven't tried out everything. I don't know like how the game works. I don't fully grasp how the game works like I do with Plague Inc. So maybe there is like a cheat tactic like that that just wins every game. I don't know, but so far I haven't found anything like that. So far it feels like Rebels Inc. just has a lot more you need to take care of. Like you don't just get infectivity and then lethality. Now, there's a lot more stuff you need to do because you'll be fighting the rebels, so you gotta upgrade your soldiers so that they can actually fight the rebels and not get killed. You need to buy stuff for the civilians so that they don't join the rebels. You need to like establish diplomacy and like build stuff and well, there's a lot of things you gotta do. So I think that's the main thing that really sets it apart from Plague Inc. is how much more tactical it is. And I think that's gonna be a pretty cool thing for people who like these types of stuff. Like I personally, I'm a fucking idiot, so handling a lot of this stuff really overwhelms me quick. So if you don't like things like that, if you prefer something more casual, I'd go for Plague Inc. But if you want something more tactical, more developed, that requires some more strategy to it, then I think Rebels Inc. is the choice. Yeah. So yeah, that's not a positive, not a negative, just saying that that's a, you know, like a difference that varies from person to person. Some people will prefer a more casual approach to take a more casual approach, and some people will prefer something more challenging, something more demanding. Right. So that's the main difference out of the way. Uh, Next up, let's talk about the special things. So Plague Inc. obviously doesn't only have the normal diseases, the red ones, but there's also quite a few special diseases, which do a lot of cool things. And Rebels also has special stuff. You can get, there's different maps and there's different governors. So maps obviously change the way that the whole place is, the shape of the map and where the key strategic points are. Some maps are a lot more difficult than others. Basically, the more mountains a map has, the more difficult it is, because rebels have a way easier time thriving in the mountains. Mm, yeah, and there's also some special maps that have like unique things, which I think is really cool. And also, when you play, you gotta choose a governor that also kind of changes your playstyle around. So that's really cool. And in Plague Inc. you have all those special disease types, which are very cool. And you got cure mode, and there's official scenario. So both games have a lot of stuff to play with. And I've been thinking about which game has more content, and I actually feel like Plague Inc. does still have more content. Like it has a lot of different things, which are which I think are really cool. And Rebels, even with the special maps, the difference is not as big. You know how with Plague Inc., special diseases just have their whole upgrade tree completely overhauled. So when you've got like five special diseases, then their outreaches will be completely different and they'll play completely different from normal diseases, and it'll just be a lot of fun discovering what they do and what strategy you should be using to win with them, because they are uh, well, largely they're still just revolve around infecting everyone and then killing them, but we'll make it more interesting. And then there's the cure mode, which I personally haven't played that much of, but that one definitely is the most the most tactical mm, game mode in Plague Inc. Rebels Inc. on the other hand, the main upgrade tree never fully changes. It only gets like alterations if you're on a special map or using a special governor. And I feel like that's because the base game is just so much more like developed than the base game in Plague Inc. That they didn't really need to overhaul everything because the basic upgrade tree is already very extensive, if you know what I mean. So if you're looking for a completely changed stuff that's completely changed around like it was in Plague Inc., it's not gonna happen. But I still think they're really cool. There are some maps, some special maps which I think were actually really cool, like the volcano map. I think is awesome. You got like the volcano erupting sometimes, and you gotta evacuate people out of zone so that they don't die. But uh, the volcano can also help you because it can, when it erupts somewhere, it blocks the way for the rebels, so it makes it easier to corner them. And actually, actually really like the volcano map. The volcano is an asshole sometimes. I think the map's still really cool. And I think the dam map was also really fun. You gotta guard some trucks that transport materials to fix the dam, and I think it's a fun map. So yeah, that's that. Big boat. So I think to sum up that section, both of the games have a lot of cool, diverse content to go around, but Plaguing does have more like diverse content and just a lot more like stuff to play with than Rebels does, you know? Because the stuff and the modes in Plague are definitely a lot more different from each other than the special modes in Rebels. But still, Rebels does have plenty of content and a lot of fun special stuff. Okay, that being said, let's move on to what I disliked about Rebels Inc. So, I think this game has a lot more annoying stuff than Plaguing, like a lot more stuff that just kind of pops up and is a nuisance. And Plaguing, you would have these situations sometimes where just by pure bad luck, you'll have like a pop-up saying, uh, the genome of your disease has been manipulated and now the cure has accelerated by 20%. And on some other occasion, it'll be, oh, the scientists have failed to manipulate the genome of your disease and the cure progress has been set back by 20%. And it's completely chance-based and there's no way to predict that or stop that. It just happens on its own and kind of sucks. And unfortunately, I feel like in Rebels, those chance-based events are way more common. So you'd have shit like the coalition needs to withdraw one of your soldier units popping up out of nowhere, and you're like, oh well, shit, that's great timing, guys. And on other occasions, you'll have shit like, oh, the refugees are arriving. You need to pay them $20, or else everyone's gonna be mad at you. So you got this kind of stuff where there's a lot of like these chance-based events that can really fuck you up, even more so than in Plague Inc., which I really didn't like. I think it kind of sucks. And another thing that's really, really painful, like maybe this is more of a personal thing because I know that they're trying to make it realistic with like soldiers traveling, but oh my god, I hate how long it takes for the soldiers to get from one zone to another and how quickly the rebels can travel between zones. It really feels like the rebels are traveling on fucking X-Wings while my guys are just going everywhere on foot and stopping for McDonald's on the way. They're just so unbelievably slow. And sometimes you have a situation where that is the insurgents, the rebels, launch a surprise attack on the other end of the map, and you gotta and before your soldiers manage to get to that edge of the map, they're gonna be like controlling three zones, and it's gonna start getting really messy. So yeah, those are my main problems with the game. This chance-based event that can fuck you up, and how slowly the soldiers move. Those are my main complaints. These are things that I truly do hate. But they don't ruin the game. Like, it is very painful to watch the soldiers move, but it still doesn't ruin the game per se. It's not that bad, but it's still pretty annoying. So yeah, that's it for the gameplay part, I'd say. If we're talking about the visuals, I think they're great. Like, I think the Ink games have really cool UI design because, well, if you're playing a game where the whole game screen is just a map and some menus, then you might as well make it look nice, and they do. Uh, in uh, in Rebels Inc. have really cool like 3D elements of those maps. It almost feel like you're you're looking at a digital board game. It's really cool to zoom in to see all the mountains and like little houses. I think it looks really nice. And the UIs are very cool. There's like a billion different UIs, just like in Plague Inc. You have all of the graphs, all of the stats, all of the numbers, which I don't look at because I'm too stupid. But maybe someone does appreciate stuff like that. I know a lot of people who love graphs and numbers and statistics, so I feel like a game like this would be heaven for those kinds of people. So yeah, visually this game is very cool, very nice. Like just really aesthetically pleasing, just like Plague actually. You also have stuff like in menus when you're in Plague when you're upgrading you're diseased and the virus or the bacteria like kind of grows, and when it's fully upgraded, it's like really aggressive looking and gross and nasty, and it's like wriggling. It's very so in Rebels Inc. I got a similar thing where your base starts off as this little tent in the middle of nowhere, and then when you fully upgrade it, it looks like the fucking presidential palace. It's really cool that way. I think the UIs are very nice, very cool. Yeah, the next criterion I usually have for review making, usually this is the second review I'm making forever, making ever. Sorry, it's the Jesus Christ. This is the second review I've ever made. That's what I meant to say. And I'm already talking about like concrete rules that I've got. Okay, well, maybe they're not as concrete uh, as I made it sound, but I will like to structure my reviews like this for the future. Where it'll be gameplay, visuals, story, soundtrack. These like four things in order. So yeah, sorry about that little digression. The next criterion I would talk about is the story, but there is no story in this game. It's just there's an insurgency, so this part is yeah, absent. That's also why I didn't divide this into spoiler-free and spoiler-full parts because there is just nothing to spoil. Uh, yeah, and then the soundtrack is nothing like remarkable. It's cool, and I definitely do like that there's a different soundtrack for every map. That's definitely something that I can appreciate, and it's a cool soundtrack. It's definitely less creepy than Plague Inc. So, in that regard, I think it's got Plague beat because the Plague Inc. soundtrack is kind of creepy and like I don't really like listening to it. It makes me feel like uncomfortable. Okay, uh, while the soundtrack for Rebels Inc. is pretty cool. Nothing extraordinary, but it's pretty cool. All right, I guess that concludes the review. Thank you for watching. If you have, likely haven't because it's an old game, and who wants to see reviews of old games? But no, I actually like making these reviews. It gives me an opportunity to practice my English speaking, and I feel like I gotta do that because now I'm studying English and I uh, need to find some opportunities to actually speak English and try to utter sentences in a correct way and not to fumble my words like I just did a few minutes ago. So yeah, if anyone watches this, I'm grateful, but I'm not doing this for views. Just doing this for my own enjoyment. Anyways, Rebels Inc. is cool. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you whenever I see you.